Hello and welcome back to another episode on Life Afloat. You join me again crouched down on the floor by the stove here. I still haven't got the new glass fitted in the stove, by the way. I'm just waiting on a delivery of some new screws at Wilton Marina so that I can use some mole grips which I've now got to try and get off those screws, because I don't want to ruin those screws taking them off and then not be able to secure the new glass in place and then obviously have no stove. So I'm just waiting on the screws to be delivered before I do that. But in preparation for getting the stove ready for winter, I have now fitted new what do you call them, fire bricks I think they're called, in the side of the stove. That was quite fiddly to get those in because the back boiler there is kind of in the way, and obviously they're not really flexible. You can't bend them and put them in position. You've got to just carry on wriggling them about and using a bit of brute force until eventually they pop into place. But that's now done. So what I'm going to do today is another job which is very important when maintaining a stove, and that is to sweep the chimney, or the flue. So I'm going to prepare the stove for that, and I'm going to show you a little trick that I use. Well, it's not really a trick, it's just something which is a good idea to do before you sweep it to help keep the mess down to a minimum. It still makes a horrendous mess, as you can imagine, but it does help somewhat in minimising that. So this is the stove at the moment. As you can see, I've had a fire going in there recently. So before you sweep the stove, just make sure it's cold and it's all out, which it is. Then we've got to obviously clear this out a little bit. So I'm going to do the old riddle grate there, get rid of the ash, and then any chunks of coal which I can reuse I'll put in my little coal bucket and save for later. There we go, so that's that all sort of cleared out, or a little bit. You'll see here this is a back boiler in the back. If it didn't have a back boiler, it would have another fire brick along the back here. But and then what's called a baffle plate which comes up and forward. The back boiler is basically the same sort of shape as the fire brick and baffle plate combined. So it comes up and then it goes out forward, sort of almost halfway across the whole of the flue or the chimney. So when you clean the chimney, when you sweep it, a load of stuff falls down. It goes behind the back boiler because the back boiler doesn't obviously touch the top. So that's an absolute nightmare to clean out the stuff from behind the back boiler. So what I'm going to do is stuff a load of carrier bags down the back of the back boiler, which will hopefully just prevent some of the mess going down the back. And then once I pull those carrier bags out, it will bring forward any of the soot and dirt that has sort of landed or would have landed behind there, if that makes sense. So that should make life a bit easier for when we come to clear it out afterwards. And also what I'm going to do is just have, and this is the little trick, is just have a carrier bag in here open underneath the hole as best as I can, and that will then catch hopefully most of the mess that falls down, so that this isn't going to be quite so much hard work to clear out after, because obviously it's very fine dust. It blows out everywhere when you have the door open and you're trying to sweep it all out or hoover it up. It just gets absolutely everywhere. So this bag just helps to sort of minimise the dirt really and the mess that it's making. So that's what I'm going to do. Now whenever I go shopping, food shopping, I always forget to take bags with me, so I've got about 1 million of these, which is quite handy. So I'm just going to stuff a couple down behind the back boiler, as I said. Just make sure you sort of remember how many you put down there, so you know you've got them all when you come to remove them at the end. You don't want to leave any in there, that would not be very good. You can see my hands already getting filthy. I should put some gloves on, shouldn't I? That's 3. I think I'm just going to get one more to put in behind there as well. I'm going to lay it across the top like this, so that then I can grab the ends, and I'm going to lay this across the top at the back of the back boiler like this, so that when I've finished sweeping I can sort of pull it forward like that, and hopefully it will drag all the dirt out that would have fallen behind there then. And I'm not going to have so much trouble trying to clear it out from behind the back boiler. Right, there we go. And now I'm going to put a carrier bag in there, leave it open, and hopefully that's going to catch most of the stuff that would have fallen. It's quite hard to have it directly under the hole for the chimney, because, as I said, the back boiler comes across a lot of that hole, about half. So really it's only going to catch what might come out the first sort of half of that hole, if that makes sense. The rest would then go behind the back boiler, which is why I've got those bags there to try and prevent that from happening. Right, so I'll open this up. Just loop the top of that over the, turn it around actually, over the top of the back boiler a bit. Make sure that handle of the bag's not in the way. Oh, this is a bit fiddly, right. So there we go. Hopefully that is going to catch a lot of the mess. So shut the door. Don't forget to do that whatever you do. Now we've got to get up on the roof and get the old chimney brush in there. Right, so here we are up on the roof of the boat. The chimney's here. Got the brush, so I'm just going to give it a little sweep really. Just push it all the way to the bottom. Nice and slowly. Until you don't really feel any more resistance, and then it's come out into the stove. Surprising how far down you have to push the brush. And then sort of pull it up. Just be very careful as you're pulling up, because a load of dirt will come out the top. The dust is blowing out. The camera's picking that up. Pull it out nice and slowly. Twist it round a bit, pop it back in. After you've done a few goes, it gets a bit easier because there's not so much build up to be scraping through. No, in my luck, I've probably pushed the bag out the way with the brush, so it's going all over the place inside the stove, but is what it is. Hopefully it's still there, catching most of the muck. There we go. I think that will do. Don't know if the camera's picking up. There's loads of dust coming out, just being sort of blown away by the breeze there. But that's good. I think that's sufficient for now. Let's get back in the boat. Right, so here we are then, back inside at the stove. Nice and grubby, as you can see. It is a bit of a mucky job. Going to open up this stove door, and fingers crossed the bag has caught a lot of the dust and the dirt. Okay. Right. I think what I'm going to do before I take this bag out is just open it up a bit so it's properly wide. I can see in there it has caught quite a lot of stuff. I'm going to pull out the bag from the back of the back boiler. Slowly, because has a load of rubbish in front of it. Now I'm sorry, my arms are probably in the way, you can't really see what's going on, but I can assure you there's a load of muck and dirt coming out when I pull the bags away from behind the back boiler. Let's take this out. Okay, it looks pretty tidy. Let me just see if I can feel anything on the back of the back boiler. There's a bit, but it's not a huge amount. But it's enough that I need to try and clean it out. Good job I had those bags there, because it would have been absolutely packed behind the back boiler if I hadn't. I'm going to come back to you in one moment with a special brush that I have, which helps me get behind the back boiler, so bear with me. This is what I use. This is a pipe cleaning brush, and I've bent the this part, the rod part I suppose you could call that, to almost 90 degrees, and I can put it up and behind the back boiler and brush along like this to try and get some bits out down the side. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully that will get rid of what's left behind the back boiler. Yep, I can see it's just brushing the bits out to the side. That's good. A few more bits to that side, but not many at all. It's a bit tricky because there's a pipe at the top left corner of the back boiler, which is obviously where the hot water comes out of the back boiler, goes to the radiators, so access is a bit restricted to sort of try and brush it out that way. So you have to brush it this way, away from that pipe. That's good, that's gone over there. Oh, that feels good. Can't feel any more bits down behind there. Take this out. And it's just brushed out those few bits to behind here. Get the brush in there. It's sort of between the back boiler and the fire brick, so I'll get the brush in there and like that. Oh yes. In fact, I'll put all that down into the ash pan. It just makes life a bit easier for clearing it out, doesn't it? Because I can then just tip it all into that bag that I've got. Oh, nightmare. Right, put all these things back, and then that's a good job done. Oh my god, look at the state of me. I rubbed some sweat off my head with my arm, thinking it wasn't too bad, but actually looking at my arm, or both of them, look what it's done. This is a messy job, right? Nevertheless, very important one, and it is now done for another couple of months. I'll do this every couple of months, especially over the winter when the stove's on a lot. You need to keep on top of it, because it has been known for the build up in the chimneys to catch fire, which you seriously don't want to happen. You could end up burning your boat down like that, so you've got to keep on top of it, look after the stove, and sweep the flue out. There we go. Thank you very much for watching. That is how I sweep the flue or the chimney on my stove. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Click the old thumbs up button if you like the video, and feel free to check out the links in the description below the video. But until the next one, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Cheers.